What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninjas Filthiest Pitches of the Day. I am Pitching Ninja. I'm here with Will Leahey, who's the ham to my egg.
That was beautiful, Ninja. We had a De La Cruz missile yesterday, and there was an attempted beer cup catch from a couple of poor fans here. You know, I don't know how to feel about this, Ninja, because it ended in disaster. I don't know if I'm angry at them for the attempt or appreciate going for it. It's tough to say. What do you think, Ninja?
Number one, I think it's fantastic. If you freeze any of these frames, you could do a painting on this and put it in Cooperstown. You have this angry woman face behind this catch. I mean, I'd probably maybe be pissed if beer got poured all on me, but maybe not. I'd probably lick it all off.
The move would be to call over the beer guy, get two fresh ones, and throw them in these two people's faces.
Wow. I don't know, man. Like, free beer any way you can get it. I don't care if it's poured all over me. As Def Leppard sang, pour some beer on me in the name of love.
You've convinced me once again, Ninja. Incredible.
Now we're going to start with our whip around the league. I'm going to start with Yusei Kikuchi, who had 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run. The Blue Jays topped the Orioles 6-5. And this back foot slider, but the story of the game were his curveballs. These wicked curveballs, and also threw in a nasty changeup. He led the day in swings and misses among all pitchers yesterday with 22. He faced Cade Povich, who had 2 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, giving up 6 runs, 4 walks, and 5 hits in his MLB debut. He had his elevated fastball for a sword in this changeup, but not a real auspicious debut for Cade Povich. Marcus Stroman had a rare clunker this year. He had 2 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, but gave up 5 runs. The Yankees still beat the Twins 8-5 because they can flat out hit if you haven't noticed. He had this slider for a sword and splitter. He faced Pablo Lopez, who had 4 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 7 runs, and was flat out rotten again. His ERA right now is 5.45, and this is a man who is on a lot of people's Cy Young lists, including mine somewhere down the list. Really needs to turn it around. He changed his facial hair, shaving off part of his beard, making it more of a goatee, thinking maybe it'd be meaner. It didn't work. I think it has more to do with stuff than facial hair.
It could go either way. I'm not sure.
The Diamondbacks down the Padres 4-3. The pitching in this game was meh. Slade Ciccone had 3 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, had this painted fastball and changeup, and got this call that got the Padres announcers absolutely fired up.
Oh, come on.
Whoa.
He faced Randy Vasquez, who had 3 Ks in 6 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, had this fastball and curveball. The Rockies edged the Cardinals 3-2. Cal Quantrill had 1 K in 5 scoreless innings, got his K on this elevated 2-seamer. He faced Sonny Gray, who had 5 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, raising his ERA this year to 3.21. He had these sinkers and sweepers, and here's an overlay of his sinker and sweeper, and you can see how well those two pitches work together. Hunter Green had 8 Ks in 6 2/3 innings, giving up 4 runs as the Reds down the Cubs 8-4. And this elevated heater, these sliders and splitters. And again, I love the development of Hunter Green's splitter. He threw 15% splitters this game and picked up 4 swings and misses on it. Again, gave up 4 runs, but this is going to serve him well as the season wears on. He faced Javier Assad, who had a not so great outing. He had 7 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, but gave up 5 runs. He had these curveballs, including this painted curveball and this sinker. His ERA this year is still 2.74, despite the 5 runs this game. Tanner Bybee had 7 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 2 earned runs. Solid outing for Bybee, but the Royals beat the Guardians 4-3. The pitch of the game for Bybee this game was his slider. He threw 48% sliders. Opponents are hitting only 138 against his slider, and he's got a 35% whiff rate on it, which explains all the sliders. He had these chalk sliders, and for those who don't know, a chalk slider is a slider on the batter's box chalk that gets a called strike. People get so confused on this. I call it chalk. They're like, yeah, maybe the chalk of the batter's box. I'm like, is there chalk anywhere else? Like, what are you talking about? You've never heard that phrase? It will be painted if it's on the plate. Here's an overlay of Bybee's fastball and slider. You can see how those pitches work really well together. He faced Brady Singer, who was really unspectacular yesterday. He had 2 Ks in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs and 9 hits. He had this slider, His ERA is still solid at 2.76, but a kind of a clunker for Singer. In a high-scoring game, the Dodgers beat the Pirates 11-7, and as you might imagine, pitching was not so good this game. Walker F. and Buehler effed my K-prop parlay because he only had 3 Ks in 3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs. He had this curveball and slider, and honestly, the Dodgers defense was god-awful this game. It was like Bad News Bears. It was just terrible. He faced Bailey Falter, who faltered. He did have 6 Ks in 4 innings, but gave up 5 runs. He had these sliders, including this one to Ohtani and this nasty curveball. Reynaldo Lopez, who's been brilliant this year, had 7 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, helping the Braves beat the Nats 5-2. He had these elevated fastballs, these painted heaters, and this wicked curveball. I mean, it's curveball. That's a legit nasty pitch. He faced Mitchell Parker, had 2 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 2 runs. Parker had this nasty curveball. The Mariners shut out the A's 3-0 behind Bryan Woo. Woo had 6 Ks in 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 2 hits and no walks. He was absolutely brilliant. In his 6 starts this year, his ERA is 1.07, which is the lowest any Mariner starter has ever had after 6 starts. Yes, even including the big frickin' unit. And really, the story of Woo's game were his fastballs, both 4-seamers and 2-seamers, over and over again. And this clip shows why he can get away with that. He tunnels these pitches really well, and they have distinct movement profiles despite being the same velo. These are both 95-mile-an-hour pitches. One's a 4-seam fastball, one's a 2-seamer or sinker. And look at the difference in movement on this. As a hitter, you can guess velo right, and you're still going to be incredibly wrong on where these pitches end up. And check out this front door 2-seamer to Toro here. Toro thinks this thing is a 4-seamer that he's going to wear, and instead, it's a 2-seamer that catches the plate. Look at Toro's face here. Woo! That's nasty. Woo talked about this after the game, about why he can get by with just these 2 pitches.
Common for a starter to throw the fastball that often, like 85% or whatever. How much of that is the movement? How much of it is hitting your spots? Why do you think you're able to succeed throwing that pitch as often as you do?
Yeah, I think it's the combination of throwing both of them because, they're so similar in velocity, and you throw them the first, 50 or 75% of the pitch looks pretty similar. They just tunnel so well that they play so well off of each other, and it's hard talking to Woody and talking to our hitters and our hitting coaches. Like it's hard seeing 2 heaters and being able to stay 2 heaters, creating a plan for 2 heaters, and then after that, it's just if you can continue to mix on the off speeds and use them effectively, then you're going to have a pretty good mix in your hands. So I think it definitely breeds a confidence that either one that I throw, it's going to be tough. So over time, I think that confidence is built.
The other thing is the Mariners throw the highest percentage of fastballs among any team in baseball. Talked to Cal Raleigh in spring training about what he liked among his starting pitchers, and you can see why the Mariners throw so many fastballs. It's because Raleigh doesn't think he can hit them.
What pitch of theirs would you least like to hit? And let's go through each guy, like each starter. Who would you least like to hit and what pitch?
George's 2-seam, his front hip 2-seam's pretty good. Logan's splitter, I wouldn't want to see that one. Luis 4-seam, Bryce Miller 4-seam, and Woo's 4-seam.
Okay, so yeah. So that's what I get. Exactly, that's why he's doing
Heavy
it.
4-seams I don't want to face, so.
Poor Logan Gilbert. He's the only one who doesn't have a fastball that Cal Raleigh likes. Bryan Woo faced J.P. Sears, who's also really good yesterday. Sears had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits. He had these fastballs, sweepers, sliders, and changeups, and looked really solid. My co-filthiest starting pitcher of the day yesterday is the incredible Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck helped the Red Sox absolutely demolish the White Sox 14-2. Will had a big smile on his face during this game. I could tell.
It's always good to just get an absolute beat down on the hideous White Sox. And it's great to see Houck just continuing the dominance. I mean, earlier in the season, we thought maybe the Cy Young contention was a bit of a fluke, but he just keeps it going. Also, hope to see him at the All-Star game.
Absolutely. He had 9 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up only 2 runs. His ERA this year is a sterling 1.91, and this is no fluke. He had this painted backdoor slider, these wicked sinkers, and here's some overlays that just show the story of why Tanner Houck is so good and so filthy. He just kills hitters east to west. Here's a sinker slider overlay and a slider splitter overlay. Good freaking luck. Steve Stone during this game compared him to Kerry Wood, which is, I don't know, that is about as big a compliment as you can give a pitcher, because Kerry Wood for one day was the filthiest pitcher on earth. And I think Steve Stone called that game. So, man, that is high praise from Steve Stone. Now into my filthiest relievers. Fernando Cruz had this cutter for a backwards K, and I thought this overlay is great because it shows you why you would take this cutter for a called strike. It's because you took this splitter the pitch before, and this cutter starts out higher than the splitter you took, and you think this thing's coming in as a splitter, it's a cutter, and instead of finishing below the zone, it actually catches the zone. Nasty stuff from Cruz. Cue the saxophone. Alexis Diaz had these sliders and heaters. Clay Holmes had these filthy sinkers and sliders. And Alex Vesia had these wicked sliders and fastball. My top 5 filthiest pitches of the day yesterday. At number 5, we have Danny Mendick and this slow ball getting a double play. Absolutely filthy stuff. I do have a question about his last name, though. Do we have anything called a woman dick? Isn't that redundant? At number 4, we have Reynaldo Lopez and his curveballs. At number 3, Bryan Woo and his fastball combination. Those 2-seamer and 4-seamers, man, so good. At number 2, the incredible Houck and his east-west attack. And at number 1, we have Blake Treinen and this literal back foot slider. Yep, he hits Tellez right in his foot on a swinging strike. And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. Haters are going to say this is Photoshop.
Well, that ball's roped toward left center field by Tellez. Oh, and dropped by Miguel Vargas.
My picks of the day today are 4-leg same-game parlay plus. I'm going to start out with Nick Lodolo for 6 Ks or more and Justin Steele for 5 Ks or more. And then I'm going to take Bryce Miller for 5 Ks or more and top it off with Lance Lynn for 5 Ks or more. And then I'm going to add in my Pitching Ninja Profit Boost for any same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus at 3 legs or more.